Hi guys, today I want to talk about damping off, which is one of the most frustrating things you'll encounter when seed starting. But have no fear, I'm going to tell you how to beat it and how to prevent it. Damping off is a disease caused by several different pathogens, most likely fungi. You'll recognize it if you have seedlings that shrivel up at the stem or at the base and die. And usually it happens before your plants get their first set of true leaves. However, the disease still can affect mature plants, it's just less likely. The reason why the seedlings are more susceptible to dying from the disease is because they have single vascular tissue, which means the best way to describe this is imagine a straw down the stem of your plant that soaks up all the water. As the plant matures, it gets more and more vascular tissue. So it's less likely for mature plants to get this disease because the disease doesn't rot the entire stem like it would for a young seedling. So how do you prevent damping off in your seed starts? The first thing you want to do is make sure you're using a seed starter mix. The reason you want to use a seed starting mix is because it's sterile. That means it's already been treated for damping off. It goes through a process to kill any type of pathogen that might be in the soil. This means you want to avoid potting mixes and soil from your garden. You can sterilize your own soil by putting it in the oven on high for about 30 minutes, or you can microwave it and sort of nuke it, and that'll kill any pathogen that might be in the soil. You're also going to want to avoid compost for seed starting and also mixes that have a lot of heavy pieces of wood chips because the fungi really thrives in those conditions. Also, if your soil is cool and wet all the time, you're more likely to get this disease in your seed starts. And that's why it's more prevalent in seed starting indoors than it is outdoors. So my top tips for seed starting to prevent damping off if you're sowing indoors is to have plenty of light, possibly put a fan in the room if it's in a small room so the room is well ventilated. You also want to make sure the room is warm because you don't want cold, wet soil. And then also don't overwater your seedlings. Water them thoroughly, and then when the soil starts to dry up pretty well, water them again. But do not water them or miss them on a daily basis because this is also creating a condition that the fungi likes. You also want to make sure that your tools and your pots that you're using are sterilized and cleaned really well. You can use a bleach and water solution for this. Just make sure you rinse everything really well afterwards. And then you also want to make sure that you're not planting your seeds too deep, because if the plant struggles to reach the surface and there's a lot of stem beneath the soil, you're more likely to get damping off. You can also top dress your seedlings with some dry soil or a fine gravel. Something that'll keep the surface of the soil nice and dry and also trap the moisture below the soil surface. Another trick is watering from the bottom up to allow the water or the plant to wick the water up. So that would involve pouring water into your tray instead of sprinkling water over your seedlings. You could also use some natural fungicides like cinnamon, and all you really have to do is sprinkle it onto the soil surface of your seedlings. You can also use 3% hydrogen peroxide, about a teaspoon per quart of water, and you can mist your seedlings with that, and that'll help kill any fungus. Anything you can do to get the seedling to grow faster and through the singular vascular tissue phase is going to keep your plants from dying from damping off. So you want to make sure that soil is warm, you want to make sure the room is well ventilated, and you don't want to overwater. Those are my top 3. If you do notice some damping off in your seed tray, it's really important to remove those plants immediately and possibly move the entire tray away from your other seedlings because it does spread very quickly and very easily. Depending on the type of plant you're growing, you can beat damping off in mature plants. One plant that you could definitely save are tomato plants, but it will require you completely topping off the plant and then planting that piece to sort of propagate the plant. To have success with that, you'll want to propagate it in some water and change the water out every day or so until it roots. Alright guys, that's it for this video. I hope I shared some helpful information that'll keep you from experiencing damping off in your seed starts this year. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.